Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. Today, we're going to be talking about Scorpio season 2022, and this is a really big and transformative Scorpio season that we are having this year. Scorpio season is always a time of transformation, as Scorpio is ruled not only by Mars, but also by Pluto, the planet that represents regeneration. However, with these powerful eclipses that we are having during Scorpio season along this Taurus-Scorpio axis, as well as some other aspects that we're going to get into as well. This Scorpio season especially, you will not go in the same way, or sorry, hold on, let me rephrase that. You will not come out the same way you went in, all right? You are going to shift, you are going to change, and it's going to be for the better. However, we are going to be required to do one thing that Scorpio energy is famous for, and that is go into the shadow, dive into those dark places in our psyche, in our consciousness, in our own hearts, and find the gems that are hidden there. If we are willing to travel into our darkness, we can retrieve a massive amount of our light. So we're going to get into some of the astrology of Scorpio season. We're going to talk about these two major eclipses that we're having along this Taurus-Scorpio axis. We had one set of those eclipses earlier this year. We're going to have another set in 2023, wrapping up this series of eclipses along this axis. If you guys want to look back at the eclipse video that I did for the Taurus-Scorpio energies earlier this year, I will link that in the description box below, because that is going to be connected to what we are experiencing now, as will the eclipses in 2023. We look at these as pairs. So if I say eclipse singular, know that I'm talking about both the eclipse that's happening on October 25th, the solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse, as well as the full moon lunar eclipse that is happening on November 7th to 8th. We have one of these eclipses in Taurus. We have the other one in Scorpio. And these are big, bold energies. I was honestly blown away when I started looking up the energies of these eclipses and the different charts for the eclipses. The first eclipse that we're having was powerful enough, but when we get into that second one, let me tell you guys, the amount of energy that these eclipses are generating is out of this world. And this is going to characterize a lot of Scorpio season as we're moving through these eclipses. And I actually want to pull up on my calendar the November eclipse again, so that I have that as a reference point as we're going through these energies here. Yeah, it's just, they're huge. The energies of these eclipses are huge. So we have that eclipse on the 25th of October. That is a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. It's kind of a mouthful when we're talking about these eclipses, so bear with me. And then we have the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus on November 7th or 8th, depending on where you are in the world. And these eclipses, as we said, they really are characterizing a lot of what we're going to be experiencing as we move through Scorpio season. It is this energy that we always talk about with this axis of the zodiac, the Taurus-Scorpio axis. And if you guys want more information on the axes, there is a short course that I did for Synchronicity University that is available for purchase. That's in the description box below. But this is a big energy. This is the axis of enlightenment. So we're bringing in a lot. And like we said during Scorpio season, with this first eclipse being in Scorpio, there's a lot of this energy of how we're bringing that in is through looking at the shadow, is through the things that are brought into our awareness, brought into our consciousness that typically reside in our subconsciousness. And honestly, what I'm feeling is even below the subconscious level. Some of this stuff is stuff that's held in our DNA. It's held in our cellular memory. It's held in our ancestral memories. It's not even necessarily things from this lifetime, from our own consciousness that are lurking in our subconscious. It's everything. Whatever is necessary to get us to that next level is going to come up. We have a lot of action in these eclipses. That new moon eclipse is going to be aligned with Venus. And this is going to be just days after Venus hits her star point at 29 degrees of Libra in conjunction with the sun. And then they move on into Scorpio, and this eclipse is occurring at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So we have the sun and the moon aligned with Venus for this eclipse. This is going to be a huge energy where we're focusing on self-love, where we're focusing on, yes, relationships, and any shadow aspects where these things are concerned. We're really getting a deep glimpse into the true nature of our hearts. The true nature, the true intentions, the true needs and desires of our hearts. All of that is being made clear to us during this first eclipse. And during the second eclipse, we have the sun in conjunction with Mercury, and not too far away from Venus. Venus's energy still shining onto this pairing here in the sign of Scorpio, opposing the moon conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And that north node energy is still going to be similar to Venus with the sun and Mercury. This north node energy is really still going to be influencing this moon conjunct Uranus energy. So Uranus, as we know, is the game changer, is the maverick. The north node represents our purpose. It represents where we are going, where our soul wants to move. And so there's a huge activation around our life purpose. There's a huge activation, especially during this lunar eclipse, but I'm feeling this going on in this whole time period in between these eclipses, which is, of course, the bulk of Scorpio season. I'm feeling these energies, these activations going on. But there's a huge activation when we have the moon conjunct Uranus opposing the sun conjunct Mercury, where we're really being asked to rise up from our lower mind to our higher mind, and really merge those energies to lift up the state and the functioning of our minds to a higher level of consciousness. This is where a lot of that old programming that we've been rewriting since 2020 is really coming into focus. And we're really seeing how much progress we've made when it comes to our belief systems, when it comes to the habitual chatter of the mind, when it comes to the way that we either rule our minds or allow our minds to rule us. And this energy during Scorpio season is asking us to step it up. If our minds are still running amok, how is it that we can begin to overcome that energy? How can we alchemize that? How can we transform our minds into something that works for us instead of against us? Our minds are powerhouses of energy. All right, they're like these huge transmitters or transformers of energy, and we are just projecting that energy out all the time. Yes, our hearts are an even bigger source of energy, right? So what we hold in our hearts is just as important as what we hold in our minds, if not more so. But a lot of times, knowing and understanding one can help you to understand what we hold within the other. And as we said, with that new moon eclipse conjunct Venus, the heart and the truth within our hearts is going to be just as apparent as the truth within our minds. So both aspects are being revealed to us during Scorpio season. The truth that we hold in our hearts, the truth that we hold within our minds, where it is that truth can be shifted and revised to reflect something that is more authentic to us. Because remember, the truth that we hold in our heart and our mind is not necessarily real. That's where those belief systems and that energy, all of that trauma, all of that wounding, that contributes to the truth that we're holding in our hearts. And many of us and minds. And many of us, we can hold what's called dual belief systems. Those of us who've done a lot of work on ourselves, this tends to be a place that we sit for some time. This is when the old belief system has not been fully transformed yet, but we've also created a new belief system that we are living by and training ourselves to operate from, right? So we have the default operating system and the new operating system working at the same time. And this is where we see a lot of conflicting manifestations. This is where we see things coming through in our reality and it feels like we're taking 10 steps forward and 15 steps back. We're constantly bouncing back and forth between those different belief systems. So we're going to be seeing and understanding where it is that these dual belief systems exist, and really getting an opportunity to root out those old belief systems once and for all and really cancel out that programming. This is a huge, huge energy of reprogramming and the heart and the mind, building that heart-mind coherence by holding the same beliefs in our hearts that we hold in our minds, right? And so this is interesting. What Spirit is saying is that we may begin to retrain our minds And so when we hold a dual belief system, oftentimes what's going on is that in our minds, we now hold the new belief system, but it hasn't quite transferred all the way to our heart yet. So our heart is still holding the old belief system, right? And we can see like an instance of this is if we once had the belief system that everybody that I love is going to leave me. We may have rewritten that belief system at a mind level, and we truly don't believe that in our minds anymore, even possibly at a subconscious level. But in our hearts, that energy hasn't quite filtered through and shifted the energy in our hearts yet. So at a heart level, we still believe that. And that is, of course, because we said the heart is the bigger transmitter. When we still believe that at a heart level, that is still more of the dominant reality that we're going to attract, because our vibration attracts even more powerfully than our minds. Our minds help to create our vibration, right? So it's all connected. But our hearts are our biggest manifestors. That's why we always say on here, the heart is the key or the doorway to the fifth dimension. So this energy is so important and so relevant. There is so much that's going to be brought to the surface, and it's going to be different for every single one of us. It's going to be what we most need to understand and realize in order to move forward, especially in areas where we've been working for a long time and we haven't yet seen the progress. Those areas, those which are oftentimes the things that we want and desire the most, where it feels like we've just been hitting our head against a brick wall. This Scorpio season is going to show us and help us to understand what that brick wall is made of and how it is that we can ultimately begin to chisel and chip that wall down. So big stuff, you guys. We also have Mars going retrograde and Saturn going direct during Scorpio season. And we actually, let me look at my little list here of planets. And we talked about all the planets turning direct in October in the October energies. But I want to look here and see, let's see. Yeah. And so if I didn't say at the beginning, Scorpio season goes from October 23rd until November 21st. On November 22nd, we shift seasons again. Yeah, I don't know. Saturn is the one that we want to look at here. Saturn turning direct and Mars going retrograde in Gemini. Those are going to give us some other really powerful and potent energies to work with. There is going to be a slowdown with Mars going retrograde. However, Mars is retrograde in Gemini. So there's a slowdown, but there's a lot of mental energy tied into this Mars retrograde, and really understanding how it is that our mental energy affects our physical energy and our ability to take that forward action and create momentum in our lives, right? That this is the energy of Mars. A lot of mental rewiring and reprogramming because Mars is in the sign of Gemini. So we see this trend continuing. And during that second eclipse here, we are going to have these T-squares that we've been making with Saturn throughout 2022. We've been talking about them off and on, constantly, planets moving in and out of these points. We are going to have a T-square going on with Saturn between the sun and all the planets associated with the sun during that eclipse in Taurus, as well as the moon and all the planets associated with the moon. With Saturn just moving direct, this is going to be there is going to be forward momentum and movement associated with this, and a real call to step up in responsibility, to take responsibility. This Scorpio season is asking us to take responsibility for our own thoughts, our own words, our own actions, our own intentions and motives, and our own desires, wants, and needs. How is it that we can fulfill those for ourselves instead of expecting somebody else to step in and fulfill them? Scorpio is a sign that really is associated with partnership. Right? There's a deep intimacy that Scorpio longs for. And Scorpio rules that 8th house, which is about deep, lasting intimacy and connection. This is when we take the energy of the 7th house of Libra, and then we take it to a deeper level. And so Scorpio does desire this, but at the same time, we're really, this year of 2022, and honestly, moving back into the end of 2020 has really been asking us to step up and take personal responsibility for our happiness. And this means not only not expecting other people to fulfill our happiness, but also not expecting the universe to fulfill it. A lot of us, we kind of like, we've gotten out of the mode of thinking of a white knight in the form of a person kind of barreling in to rescue us. But sometimes we replace that white knight with spirit, with source. And we expect our guides, our angels, our team to come in and deliver us, if you will. And that's not the way it's going to work. We are meant to take the action. This is all about personal empowerment. There is so many... This three-dimensional construct that we are breaking out of, that we are setting ourselves free from, is designed to keep us unempowered. All right, so the first step to breaking free of that energy, well, maybe not the first step. Maybe we'll do a video where we outline these steps here. So it's not the first step, but one of the most important steps to breaking free of this energy is learning how to be sovereign. Learning how to take responsibility for our own energy, for our own lives, for our own hearts and minds. And having that sense of independence. This is so incredibly important if we are going to break free of an energy that wants us to be codependent on everything and everything. Or anything and everything is what I meant to say there, right? They want us to be codependent on our government. They want us to be, to depend on outer things to fulfill us, right? They want us in that addictive energy, where we're always seeking something outside of ourselves. They want us to seek information and knowledge outside of ourselves, right? They want to spoon feed us the belief systems that they want us to have. And this energy is all about breaking through that and saying enough is enough, and really following and being guided and led by our own truth. So for Scorpio season, I am wanting to start with the Wisdom of the House of the Night deck. This is a deck that is connected to Nyx, which is, she's known as a dark goddess, one of the original goddesses and clear deities, and very, very powerful energy. So we're gonna look into this. We're gonna get some wisdom from the House of the Night, some wisdom from Nyx to guide us through Scorpio season, to guide us through this delving into the lower realms, right, into the shadow realms. To illuminate the shadows within our own hearts. What guidance do we have as we move through this process, Nyx? She can teach us a lot about navigating the shadow and the power that is found there, as can Pluto and Mars. I'm just now realizing that Mars is especially important in this Mars retrograde, because Mars is one of the rulers of Scorpio. I always think of Pluto when I think of Scorpio, but Mars was the original ruler before Pluto was discovered, and that energy is just as significant. Sorry. All right, so we have playful coming out. And then we have individuality, and it actually came out like this. And so this is where anywhere where we have sacrificed our individuality, we're being asked to reclaim that. All right, to reclaim our truth. This is just what we were talking, exactly what we were talking about just minutes ago, right? And look at this bird and this light in the center of this bird's chest. Isn't that interesting? I feel almost like the name Zoe is on this card too, which is fascinating. Like animals, we're receiving transmissions from animals right now as well. Some of these would be pets and the animals in our lives. If you have a cat, right, we see the kitten on this card. Cats, actually, their purr is a healing frequency. So we're receiving healing and transmissions from our pets, and also from the some of the wild animals and the animal spirits that we may encounter. So be aware of that. Somebody like a red cardinal or a red bird is visiting you, and it's offering you transmissions. It's actually offering you light codes through when it chirps and it sings, which is very interesting. These activations are all around, right? But this is a guide during Scorpio season to be playful with your individuality. Be playful with your looks, right? One of the things of Scorpio season that is fun is that Halloween falls during Scorpio season. My mother actually was born a few days before Halloween. She is a double Scorpio, Scorpio sun and Scorpio rising. And she is all about, I mean, I was raised to love Halloween. It is an amazing, it's just a beautiful holiday. No matter how you celebrate it, there are lots of different ways to celebrate Halloween and this energy. It is, of course, connected to pagan tradition as well. And there's a lot of beautiful witchy energy connected with Halloween, All Hallows Eve, and then, of course, All Saints Day, November 1st and 2nd. So just a lot of beautiful, rich energy, connection with our ancestors, with those who have passed on, right? That veil is very thin. And this is the veils between all worlds. So there's a lot of transmissions. That's why these eclipses are going to be so powerful when they bring through these transmissions, because that veil is so thin. And this is why a lot of that ancestral, when we talked about the belief systems and the traumas and the energies coming up to be healed that affect us, and how we're really working even beyond the subconscious on an ancestral and a DNA level. This is what we're talking about, right? Because we have this link to our ancestors that is so strong during this time of the year to all of these other worlds. Where can you be playful with your individuality? Where can you be playful with your personality, with the self? Spirit's saying, like, look at this, take in the energy of Halloween time. Put on some different costumes. Play some different roles to see if something fits, to see what feels good. A lot of us, we're in this period right now where we don't really know who we are anymore. We've had to let go so much of how we defined ourselves in the past that we're kind of in this limbo, and we're not really sure who exactly, that ultimate question, right? Who are you? And so we're figuring this out. We're understanding that. Like, yes, on a very basic level, on the purest level, the answer to that question, who are you, is I am, right? But when we start playing with the subtleties of that, delving into the richness of that, who am I in this current experience, in this current incarnation, in this current now moment? And that's what Spirit's saying is, who are you in this now moment? That's going to shift and change. Don't get so caught up and stuck on who you think you are that you miss who you truly are. That you miss an opportunity to play a different role, to have a new experience, to have a richer experience of your reality. And there's a lot of heavy energy that we can experience during Scorpio season. And that's why Spirit's saying keep it light, keep it playful too. Yes, delve into those dark places when your spirit takes you there, because that is where the treasure is. That's where the transformation is. We can come out of the Scorpio season so much lighter and more empowered and more centered in the truth of who we are. If we're willing to delve into those dark places, those hard places. However, we don't have to spend all our time there. We can be playful too. All right, we have self-worth on the bottom of the deck. Like we said, this is a huge, huge energy that we are working with this Scorpio season, and always, right? Isn't self-love, self-acceptance, and self-worth what it's all about? But this Scorpio season is really going to show us what it is that we've been missing. And what Spirit's saying is it's been hiding in plain sight. And this comes to our efforts to transform ourselves, our efforts to move forward, where it is that we've been feeling stuck, complicated. All right, so there's some complex situations presenting themselves. And I will say, I've seen this evident in my life lately, and the lives of a lot of people around me. It seems like the universe is just like throwing one thing after another at us. All right. And this is an initiation. This is why this is happening. But it's like one situation, one complication, one challenge after another, after another, after another. And it's really keeping us on our toes. And quite frankly, it can be exhausting. I mean, me, just in my own personal life, trying to navigate all of the changes, all of the different hurdles, everything that's coming up, it has definitely impacted my ability to be present on this channel. I'm never going to be, we don't use words like never. I am always connected to you guys. I'm always thinking of you. And I mean, this is a huge part of what I do and what I love, right? So I'm always going to be here, but my ability to be here the way that I've wanted to be has certainly been affected not only by the outer circumstances, but by the inner circumstances. Our inner worlds are just as complicated as our outer worlds right now. And we know that one reflects the other, so I guess it's no surprise. But it really does feel like initiation for many of us, like an initiation by fire. So much. And it's our ability to adapt, our ability to be mutable, our ability to look at and compare our ability to flow with these changes, to come back to our center, all these things that we talk about, that really is showing us our forward progress. And so here we have self-worth coming out with lust. And we know Scorpio energies, they do rule. When we're talking about the energies of sex, when we're talking about the energies of passion, these are Pluto and Mars and Scorpio ruled energies. All right, so there is a lot of lusty energy that can be associated with Scorpio season, a lot of passion. So, and then we have conclusion on the bottom of the deck. With oath inverted. Which really makes me feel like there are soul contracts concluding here. There are major lessons concluding here that have to do with sex and relationships and our sense of self-worth. Perhaps the ways that we use our sexual energy, right? Scorpio rules our sexual energy. Scorpio and Taurus. The ways that we use our sexual energy, the ways that we can see by looking at our intimate lives and our romantic relationships, how those reflect our self-worth. And if we have situations or situationships or relationships, right, where we are not being treated as we deserve, where we are it's clear that we are lacking in self-worth and self-love because of the ways that we allow ourselves to be treated. Spirit's asking us to conclude that energy, to conclude those cycles and patterns. All right, if we allow people to use us for sex, right? If we, for some people, it's like mistaking sex for love and vice versa. For some people, it is just being the other woman in a relationship, right? Or being with a partner who sees other people. Being involved in situations or relationships that don't resonate with us, but where we don't speak up for ourselves because we're afraid of being alone. Remember that energy, that fear of abandonment energy. All right? So during the Scorpio season, we're going to find that we're lusting after people that are not good for us, either far more or far less than usual. And if it's far more, it's because there's a lesson there that needs to be learned. There's something that needs to be concluded. If it's far less, then we are going to be realizing that we have grown in ways that we had not. Perhaps we hadn't fully realized or understood how much we had grown until perhaps a person comes back from the past, perhaps a relationship that we're in, or a situation we're ready to leave. There's going to be a lot of energies with that and a lot of ins and outs with that. And it's like us really beginning to understand value and act in accordance with the understanding of our true worth. There is a great quote that I love, and it says something like, once you understand what you're worth, you'll stop giving discounts. And that's what this energy feels like to me. Then we have the message coming through and loyalty. So this is beautiful, right? For some people, there's a deeper level of commitment this Scorpio season. I also feel like with this loyalty and this message, this is like if you have been loyal to your spiritual path, the information and the guidance that you feel you've been lacking is going to come through. But Spirit's also saying if you've been receiving the messages and you have not been following through, now's the time to do so. Now's the time to work on your own loyalty to yourself. We're learning how to be loyal to ourselves. And what does being loyal to yourself mean? It means setting boundaries with yourself and keeping them. It means setting goals and aspirations and working towards them. It means showing up for yourself, showing up for your own healing, showing up for your own growth, showing up for your own life. All right. Do we have... I feel like that's actually good for this deck. What else do we want to do here? I'm just kind of scanning until something stands out to me. Cosmic reading cards. I'm going to pull a cosmic reading card for you guys. I like to hold these up like this because it's so much easier than going through and writing it all out in the description box. Clear. Let's get some guidance for the Scorpio season. I have a couple decks like this. The other one are called Sacred Spirit reading cards, and I usually go for those, but for some reason today, it's the cosmic cards. I feel like they hold some guidance for us. All right, we have Celebration coming through with Free Spirit. Mother Earth was underneath that. And we have Shine on the bottom of the deck with Unconditional Love. All right, so this is what we're talking about here. It's this energy of really celebrating the beauty of who we are. 13, that's the Death card. That's Scorpio energy, right? We have a 22, a 6, a 13, a 29, and a 34. And Loyalty was 33. We're not going to go through all the other numbers, but those are some. We got actually a 44 out on the table. Lots of powerful numbers here. But it's celebrating our beauty, celebrating, yes, the planet as well, our connection and our link to Mother Earth. She wants to keep us grounded through this experience, through this portal. Isn't this interesting? Doesn't this, I'm just noticing, look like a face up here? And it looks like a skull, right? And so that the skull is linked to ancestral energies, working with skulls, with crystal skulls. During this time of year can be incredibly powerful. There's a reason why the Day of the Dead, the masks that they wear, the faces that they wear, there's a name for what they call them. But they look like skulls, right? So that ancestral energy, it's like the connection between Gaia and our ancestors. Really, it's like our ancestors want to bring through and they want to remind us of the deep connection that they had with this planet. The deep connection that you have, even if you don't always remember it. And the way to move into rhythm with her again. When we talk about ancestral healing, we talk a lot about times about the curses, the generational curses that we're breaking. The ways that we are coming to do things better than they were done in the past. But there are things to learn from the past as well. There are some things that they did better back then than we're doing today. And their connection to, especially certain lineages, to the planet as one of those things, the reverence for the natural world and the ways that they lived in harmony with the natural world. That is something that we can learn, and that's something that they want to help us remember. But there's just this energy, really celebrating, having a good time this month, stepping into your authenticity as powerfully as possible. And really, it's like allowing yourself to shine, allowing yourself to be seen, the true you, right? Scorpio season wants you to take off the mask, be the true you, and allow that true you to radiate. Allow that truth of who you are to radiate. That's one of the major fears that we're being asked to step through, is this fear of, if I am my true self, I will not be loved, right? I will be unappreciated. I will not be respected. I will not be received. You will be received by exactly who you're meant to be received by. You'll connect with exactly who you're meant to connect with. The shortest, the quickest and easiest trick to coming into alignment with those that are meant to be on your path and what is meant best for you is to be who you truly are. We have Celestial Teacher under that, and Transformation. All right, 7 and 33, very highly mystical numbers right here. And does that not look like an ancestral image as well? And it also reminds me of one of those death's head moths a little bit, which is interesting. Each and every single one of us has some type of teacher leading us through this transformation. That's going to be different for different people. All right, who is your celestial teacher? For some people, it's a physical person. For some people, it's your guides, angels, a mentor. For some people, it's like plant medicine or something like that. For some people, it is, I don't know, look at that. Doesn't that look like an angel? Do you see the wings there? Your own higher self. The circumstances in your lives. Your life could be the teacher. All right, but whatever this celestial teacher is, it is guiding you through a transformation. So Spirit's saying simply allow yourself to be transformed and the new chapter begins. All right, I think I actually want to pull a mystical wisdom card for you guys. This was a gift from my friend Tommy. It's a beautiful deck. Here. And then we may do, I think I know what else we're going to do after this. Oh, we missed a card there. And it is legends. Learn from those who inspire you. All right, so more of that teacher energy, right? Anybody who inspires you, anybody who's doing something you long to do, who lives their life in a way that you long to emulate, who holds wisdom that you wish to attain or put into practice, is a teacher for you. Give us some guidance, some reassurance, I wanted to say, even possibly, as we move through Scorpio season. And these eclipses, this eclipse time. Peacock, raise your standards. All right, so here we go. This energy of raising our standards. We talked about it when we had this lust energy coming out, right? With the self-worth. Raise the standards for how you are treated. Raise the standards for how you treat yourself. Because the way we treat ourselves dictates the way that other people treat us. They pick up on that, and they treat us accordingly. All right, it's almost like an instinctual thing that people cannot help. All right, so raise the standards of how you treat yourself, and you will be treated differently by others. But absolutely hold others accountable to those same standards. Set those boundaries, set those standards with people, and do not accept anything less. And when people give you less, do not accept it. All right, what I'm seeing here is like a game of poker where the stakes keep getting raised. All right, that's what this energy is. Keep raising those stakes. Keep raising those standards. These cards are gorgeous. I mean, look at the imagery in that. The peacock also. What does the peacock represent? Strutting your stuff. So a lot of that energy of letting yourself shine this month. On the bottom of the deck, we have resilience. Rise above tribulations. And choices under that. Make the best choices. All right. So, really being called here. This is the initiation that we were talking about, right? The challenges, the tribulations that Spirit seems to keep throwing at us that are helping to grow us, right? See the bigger picture. Find the gift, find the lesson, find the way through. Find the way to keep coming back to your truth, to your center, and make the best possible choices in the face of these tribulations. How are these calling you to step into your empowerment and to utilize your ability to make the best and most aligned choices for you? The choices you make today create your reality tomorrow. All right? Spirit wants us, Saturn going direct really wants us to understand this. Your choices have consequences. Those can be positive or negative. depending on the choice itself. All right? So some of us, really, what we're experiencing when it comes to these trials and tribulations, it's a result of our own choices. These are the consequences for our choices. And so Saturn going direct says, if you don't like the consequences, make different choices. I almost said better, but it's not make better choices, it's make different choices. Because every choice helps us to learn and helps us to grow. So it's not necessarily that some are good or bad, they just yield different results. If you want different consequences, make different choices. And have those choices reflect your new raised standards. These are setting standards not only for how other people in your life behave, but how you behave as well. This energy of taking personal accountability, Spirit is really harping on. We have the Phoenix here with new beginnings, begin your new life. That was inverted. And what Spirit is saying is that this new life, first of all, we always say the new is going to cost you the old, right? But also this new life can't begin until we really begin understanding and integrating this energy of standards, this energy of choices, this energy of resilience, this energy of self-worth, right? And then we have Dove, take a leap of faith. And this energy with legends on the bottom of the deck now, learn from those who inspire you. Is there somebody in your life who inspires you? By doing something you aspire to do. Is there somebody in your life who inspires you by doing something that you aspire to do? Can you take that leap of faith and begin to emulate that energy? Can you do the thing that you are most afraid of? Are you ready to do the thing that you are most afraid of? Is there something in your life that is requiring and calling for a leap of faith? Do you have the trust in yourself and your capabilities in spirit to take it? Somebody is being offered an olive branch. Somebody's being offered an opportunity to rise above, to be the bigger person, to take an opportunity. It's like somebody here too you said you wanted something and now you're getting it. And are you ready? Do you really? It's that energy of be careful what you wish for. Are you ready for it? You're being given what you asked for, but it's going to require a leap of faith. Are you ready and willing to take your leap of faith? That is your part in that process. Take a leap of faith because you are meant to become the legend. All right? You're looking at the legendary people all around you, overlooking the fact that you are a legend in your own right. But you have to have the willingness, the courage to take that leap of faith, to find your own legendary footing, if you will. We have leadership too. Set your goals. All right, so this energy of leadership. Many on here, if not everybody on this channel, you are born leaders. Are you ready to lead? Are you ready to rule? Are you ready to be the ruler of your own reality? Look at all the sunflowers in her dress. These cards are absolutely gorgeous. I haven't played with them enough, so they're so beautiful. All right. Are you ready to be the leader? See her brandishing that wand, right? That big flaming wand. Has an Ace of Wands and a Strength card feel to it. If we're talking tarot, right? You are a legend. Step into that. Embrace that. Take control. Once again, this is Spirit saying take the reins of your own life and set those goals. I was just talking about this with a friend of mine. The energy of goal setting, the importance of this, right? And there's a program that I'm using right now. And they talk about this, and they talk about setting SMART goals. And a SMART goal is a goal that is well defined, that it is easily broken down into pieces that are realistic and achievable, and easily measurable. And so it's about really clearly defining, what are my goals? What are my major big picture goals? And then what little goals kind of fall in between that will get me to this bigger goal? All right, because sometimes we have to break this down into steps. So Spirit's saying, really break your goals down into steps. Have your overarching goal, and then have all the smaller goals that will help to get you to that goal. All right, and start small if you need to with little goals, things that you know are easily attainable, and build yourself up. As you do this, as you achieve these small goals, it builds your confidence, and that confidence allows you to tackle bigger goals and bigger projects. All right, very important right now. And then cheer up, live in the moment. Don't be so glum, chum. This is that playfulness energy again. This is being centered and alive in this moment. Not allowing your mind to take you to the past or the future, right? Being anchored right now in the present. How can you be fully present in this moment right now, the only moment that truly exists, and take full advantage of it? How can you live and breathe this moment and bring as much joy into this moment as you can? These are the things that Spirit wants us to focus on, wants us to understand as we move through Scorpio season, as we move through these two hugely impactful eclipses. I may not end up having the time to do separate videos for the eclipses, so I wanted to talk about them a little bit during the Scorpio season video, because all of these energies are so linked together. Right? They really, truly are. We break them down into little bite-sized pieces, but the overall energy, it's the culmination of all of these events. All right, so this period of Scorpio season, between the 22nd, if you guys haven't checked out the Venus Star Point Saturn Direct video, I highly suggest that you do so. Between the 22nd, when we hit that point, and then November 8th, where we have this eclipse, this second of the two eclipses, in the sign of Taurus, that lunar eclipse. Big energies. All right. So much shifting and changing within us. As Spirit said, and we talked about in that October Energies live stream, get plenty of rest. Look into ways to reduce oxidative stress. Make sure that you are hydrated. All right. For some, I mean, as many of you know, I have a 3-month-old baby right now. So, and I'm working, I'm doing things. I am trying to be active in my life as much as possible. It doesn't always provide for ample rest, but I can control how much water I drink. So I am choosing to stay hydrated, to eat well, to live well, to laugh well. That's what Spirit wants us to do as we are moving through this Scorpio season. I love you all. I hope that you have a brilliant Scorpio season. If we don't get deeper into these energies, and I'm sure that we will, but if we don't, make the most of them. Drop something in the comments. Let us know how you are making the most of these energies, what it is that you're shifting and changing, what your own personal transformation looks like. And don't forget to join the Facebook group if you want to be able to connect more with the people in this tribe. That is linked below. There is a link for donations linked below as well in the description box, as well as a thanks button now if you guys feel so motivated or moved to donate. I am still taking personal clients. I'm slowly working my way through my wait list. If you have an emergency, let me know and we may be able to factor that in and bump that up a little bit sooner. I thank everybody for their patience with that. I just thank you all for being here and being so beautiful and brilliant. And yeah, I will catch you guys very soon. Bye.